Let's get an update from the co-founders of the battle cry. They have been on the front lines of protecting our children from the deviancy of Democrats. Let's see, we've got Brittany Mayer and Melissa O'Connor and Carrie Prejean, I think we're working on. But ladies, welcome back. Glad to have you guys.
Thank you so much for having us, Chris. You know we love you. You're one of our favorites, so thank you for having us on.
Thank you, ladies. Now, before we get into the news of the day, Brittany, what is the latest on the battle cry's investigation into the pushers of this radical transvestite ideology and this push to over-sexualize our children?
Yeah, it's starting to look a lot like the trans Taliban. It's starting to look like this cult is hell-bent on absolutely destroying women. And this isn't a grassroots civil rights movement like we were led to believe. But we're starting to see now that this was actually top-down, very methodical, very well-funded. The CEI index is something that we are looking at now, which is a corporate equality index, which essentially places huge corporations and businesses on the burner if they aren't being LGBTQ+ inclusive and moving into the public square as businesses to stand for transgenderism, which is, again, a cult like the Taliban. And we're starting to see that this is much more insidious than what we were first led to believe, as if this was something that came from the culture itself. It's looking like this whole transgender movement is actually much more artificial and top-down than it is a civil rights movement.
Yeah, well, most Democrat movements are AstroTurf. Melissa, I want to touch on that index here in a minute, but Bud Light's parent company has lost a reported $4 billion just in the past few days, but Bud Light is standing by their partnership with a man pretending that he's a woman. Other brands, though, are following Bud Light's footsteps. Nike has hired the fake woman to promote women's sports bras because, as you know, men know a lot about women's sports bras. Our society won't tolerate a white person in blackface, calling it disrespectful. What is it when woke corporations promote a man in woman face?
Well, it goes back to what Britt was just discussing. And okay, you can hear me. We need to call upon the CEOs of these companies. So you've been mentioning Budweiser, or Bud Light, which is owned by Anheuser-Busch, and their CEO is Brendan Whitworth. And then we need to look up the CEO of Nike, and we need to say, will you please stand up for Americans, the majority of Americans who are your consumer base, and do not bow to this top-down approach, which is the CEI index. And the word equality is in there, and there's nothing equal about saying that men and women are the same. Clearly, we've gone too far with that message, and these companies are just pawns of this greater evil scheme to completely erase women. And we at the Battle Cry, we do not stand for that. And we want to invite you into all the deep dives we're doing. So if you're listening, please follow us on Instagram at thebattlecry_US. And we are going to be dropping so much information that you can share. And don't stay silent on this. So we're at a place where you
Amen.
have to get loud.
Amen. Amen. You know what? And I would just say, from this liberty-loving Latino's perspective, if it's disrespectful for a white person to appear in blackface, I think these woke corporations are disrespecting women everywhere, allowing men and males to appear in women face. And that's my point of view. Brittany, the corporations, they're going to lose billions to comply with this index you've been bringing out, this arbitrary and silly construct. As you say, it's called the Corporate Equality Index, the largest LGBTQ ABCDEFG cultural Marxist lobbying group out there. It's called HRC, oversees this, pie in the sky arbitrary thing. It turns out that they are backed by none other than George Soros, the admitted Nazi collaborator, who's apparently into this kind of thing. Would you do business with any company that was in bed with George Soros, figuratively speaking, of course?
Is it figurative? I don't know. I would say this. I will vote with my dollar, and I will vote with my voice. And I refuse to stand by corporations that are Marxist in nature to destroy and upend America as we know it. And that's what people need to realize, is we are not dealing with a tame civil rights movement. That's not what this is. That's not what this ever was about. This is a top-down, radical movement to completely destroy America as we know it. And these companies are being infiltrated, as we saw with Anheuser-Busch, by these woke marketing agents who are working to completely destroy these companies. And so that's why we're calling on these CEOs now to say, who do you pledge allegiance to? Do you pledge allegiance to the CEI, which is funded by George Soros, largely? Or do you stand by the American principles that allowed you to build your corporations and to the people who have established you as kings in America culture? Who is it that you are going to stand for and with? And I want to hear those CEOs begin to talk about this. Are you standing for the CEI and their radical index, or are you standing with the American people who are fed up with this insanity? I am so sick and tired of my identity as a woman being called something so insignificant that if you cut off your penis, you can suddenly be me. We are so fed up with this ideology that is fake, that is dangerous, and that is Marxist in nature. And so those CEOs need to realize that, yes, they may be bowing to the CEI, but in doing that, they are destroying their consumer base and America as we know it. And so we're calling on the CEOs now to decide if they will stand with the CEI or the American people who are fed up.
Well, this is why I applaud what you guys are doing in Battle Cry, because you guys are seeing an issue that's a direct attack on the American family, the nuclear family, a direct attack on our children, and you're doing something. And Melissa, I want to talk about somebody else who's out there just taking a stand on science and taking a stand on reason. Her name is Riley Gaines. Now, as you know, she was ambushed and assaulted while speaking on protecting women's sports at San Francisco State University. But the student president there, she's an alleged female, she's blaming the victim, saying that it was Gaines who was, quote, spreading violence. The president then went on to bash the cops' presence at that riot and for protecting Gaines from the left-wing mob tearing her limb from limb. A Babylon Bee headline, I think, encapsulated everything perfectly. They quipped, Riley Gaines arrested for making trans activists assault her. Victim shaming, it seems to be a favorite thing for the left-wingers to do. Just look at what Kamala Harris did in Tennessee the other day. How can women, Melissa, fight back?
Well, welcome to the Upside Down. We all know now that we're here, but we love Riley Gaines. And Riley, we support you. We're sending you a hug right now. Riley was in a hostage situation. She was ambushed by radical trans activists, which we have all seen. And what this does is it exposes where the University of San Francisco, I believe, where that university stands. It exposes who the people are involved, and that they released a statement and never once apologized to Riley. So that shows that they completely accept this violence against a woman. And these trans activists, these men claiming to be women, they have super rights. Where in any other time in history have we seen domestic or assaults on women where you can be physically assaulted in public and you're protected? It's so horrible. And us at the Battle Cry, we believe that the answer is getting loud and speaking out against it and just saying this isn't right and we're not going to tolerate it.
Yeah, and can I add
violence against women only in the left-wing mind, guys, is that permitted. Violence against women if they don't agree with you. Sorry, guys, I'm up against the clock here. I want to thank our 100% bona fide, scientifically proven female panel, Brittany Mayer and Melissa O'Connor. Ladies, thank you very much. Keep us posted on all your good work.